Yes, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. It's a great pleasure for us to start a learning activity today here on this forum. When we were conducting our Area 5 meeting, many of our council members proposed that we should have some learning forum. Area 5 should design some activities where members of the Area 5 get the opportunity to learn from the experts. And then we got an opportunity and we met Mr. Muhammad Bilal, who is a professionally is a recruiter. And so we thought that it is a good opportunity. Most of the young people, they claim or they say that when we apply for a position at any place, when we apply for a job, most of the time we don't get an answer from the recruiters, from the organization who are issuing, who have given the post for, given the advertisement for a post. Why it so happens? Some people believe that it is because they patronize their own people. It is a nepotism. Some believe maybe we are not matched. We don't have that capability to match with the requirement. So we thought that let's, what they say in English, let's learn it from the horse's mouth. Why shouldn't we learn the issue from the angle or from the perspective of a person who is a recruiter, who hires people? Why some people are selected? Why some people are not shortlisted? What is it that we need to do that will provide us an opportunity to be hired at a position where we are applying? What are the problems that we face? So, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Muhammad Bilal, who is a recruiter at Cure MD. When I asked him for an introduction about himself, I'm very happy to share what he has told about himself. Says that an individual filled with passion. When I do something, I put my entire being on it. I like to be resourceful to others and believe that life is too short to be wasted on futile material things. Professionally, I am a recruiter at Cure MD. My goal is to not only excel in my professional, but also to deliver distinct results in all my pursuits. In recruitment, I strive to provide candidates with the best experience they have ever received, ensuring an engaging process. I'm committed to going above and beyond, consistently surprising the expectations of my role. So beautifully described by himself. And may we request our guest, Muhammad Bilal, to please switch on the camera and let's, yes, thank you very much. So before I hand over the charge to you, let me see that if you are able to share your slides. So is
Yes,
Bilal
you can share.
over? Yes, you can share. And spotlight like this. Muhammad Bilal, we are very thankful for you and we warmly welcome you on this occasion today that you spared some time. It's a national, our national day, our freedom day, and many of the people who are stuck up somewhere in their jobs, maybe they are looking for a opportunity of freedom also. So the two things are going to be combined. Thank you very much once again. I hand over the charge to you so that people get an opportunity to learn from you. Mohammed Bilal, stage is yours now.
Thank you, Mr. Irfan, for being so thorough in my introduction. And thank you for everyone who is here in this meeting. And thank you for everyone that who took the time out to be here with us today and to hear whatever I have to offer. And the goal is to, I believe, to be of value of some kind, even if I'm able to add 1% value to your life, maybe personal, professional, then I believe the goal of this meeting would have been achieved. So with that in mind, I believe some of you were in this previous session as well. Yes, someone is saying something. Please go ahead.
No, maybe somebody was not muted and
Okay, got
accidentally.
it. Got it. So as I was saying, some of you were in the previous session as well. So pretty much this presentation would revolve around that discussion that we had that time. And the content is more or less the same. I'll try my best to go in more depth because most of what I said, I covered everything, complete 360 view of the recruitment that I gave all of you. So if you have any questions from that session as well, you can note those down and write those down and ask me those at the end of the session. And if you have anything that you'd like to ask mid of the presentation, just raise your hand. And if any one of you would like to point that out that someone from this audience is trying to ask you a question, then do call out because I might miss their name or miss that they have raised their hand. Okay, so just trying to
Bilal,
be
sorry,
yeah.
Bilal, I just wanted to say one thing that the audience is, say, 90% plus audience is a different audience.
Okay, okay,
Most of the previous people will not be here. This is
okay,
altogether
no worries.
new audience.
Understood. So all those new members, I hope that you haven't seen the previous presentation, so you get a completely different outlook of what I am and how I present myself. So with that in mind, let's just begin and I'll share my screen with you. So has the screen gone on full mode for all of you? So yes, I was asking that everyone can see the full view of the screen, right?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, so by visible, I'm trying to ask is that are you seeing the full screen, as in?
Yes.
Yes, full screen
Yes.
is visible.
It is full screen presentation mode.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Thank you for clearing that up. The reason that I ask a lot of questions is because I'm trying to be inclusive and entertaining of everyone, so that no one gets left behind. So the goal of this is to pinpoint ways, tactics, and means, so every and each one of you can possibly land your dream job. With that in mind, I'll try my best to cover all these points: introduction, then moving on to creating your best, most desirable resume format, and optimizing your LinkedIn to the best so that it aligns with what you're trying to achieve through your resume and what you want people to see, what you're trying to sell, what kind of value you'll be able to bring to the table. Moving on to the job search, then submitting the application, what are the do's and don'ts of that, and then preparing for the interview. There are a couple of more complimentary sessions and components of this presentation as well, which you'll find out later on. Moving on, so one thing that I want all of you to keep in mind is that uh, whenever you start your job search, the key, most critical component is that the quality of your application is more important than how many applications you submit on each company on different roles. So it's not about if you are sending out 100 applications in a week, it's about sending 10 or 20 meaningful applications in a month that land you at least 2 to 3 interviews, and then from there on it's your own effort and your own personality and the way you present yourself. So that is the goal, right? The quality of application is of utmost importance, and searching for a job, attaining it from start to end, it is an entire process. It requires strategies and tactics, some of which you have never heard of before, some of which might even seem a little bit, on the illegal side as well. Just, pun intended, don't take that seriously. Moving on. So first off, we start from resume writing process. So before you're searching for your job, you have to jot down everything that you can write up and summarize in your resume to the best of your knowledge, so that whenever it lands in front of a recruiter or a potential employer, you are able to present your best professional self, right? That is the main goal of creating a resume. Everything else comes later on. Even if you're searching for the job, even if you haven't identified what your dream job is, right? The goal is to create a stellar resume. So we'll start off by creating a compelling summary. So what should a compelling summary include, right? So all of you might have given one or two interviews at least in your life. So every interview, most of the interviews start with the introduction of the candidate. And those candidates that have prepared their introduction go on speaking for about 2.5 to 3 minutes max. And in those, they do not stutter, they do not stammer, and they explain about their personality, their professional expertise, and what they want to achieve, like 3 to 4 years or 5 years time from now. So that is a concise introduction. That is a well-built and well-created, crafted introduction. So with that in mind, a compelling summary is somewhat a more, narrowed down, a more concise version of that. So you cannot create a paragraph that, that would take the recruiter or the potential employer 2 to 3 minutes to read, right? So the idea is to create a short summary of approximately 4 lines max, 3 to 4 lines, and these go on the top of your resume. So it should start off from, my name is Bilal, I'm a recruiter. For the past 3 to 4 years, I've been working in tech sector or whatever industry that you're working in, and I bring these skills to the table. These are the positions that I've closed, and that, those calculatable, measurable statistics, as in that it takes me around 1 week to close a position. I have been, involved in executive hiring, executive recruitment as well. These are the terms that I am familiar with. Most of you won't be familiar with that, but if any one of you would like to, share that, they could share that in the comments in the chat section, and I would be happy to go through their professional summary and give them a few pointers on how they can tweak it and make it more presentable. So the idea is to start with, what you bring to the table, then how you will achieve whatever value that you're proposing, how and what you will McKinsey, and it stated that all those employers that are not jumping on the bandwagon of artificial intelligence, meaning that if they're not integrating AI into their systems, regardless of the field they're in, will be most likely left behind in the next 3 to 4 years. Now, that is a very bold statement, and coming that from a very, global institute such as McKinsey, it should be an eye opener for everyone. Same goes for individuals as well. So if you're not, for instance, if you're not incorporating AI, you're not using AI to make your processes simpler and making your day-to-day life easier, then it's your loss, because it cuts down operational tasks to just minutes, which were, hours back in the day, which took hours back in the day. So similarly, if you're not keeping up with the trends, if you're not learning every day, if you're not keeping up with every change that is coming on in your field, then it's your loss, because at the end of the day, the maximum value you can offer and bring to the table is how you will be able to achieve whatever it is that is going on, whatever you are proposing that you can achieve in the shortest amount of time, with utilizing the least amount of expenses and revenue. That is the goal that every organization has whenever they are onboarding employees. That is why with every position, there is a budget allocated. So let's say if you are hiring a graphic designer, there would be a 1 lakh budget allocated to that. That is just a hypothetical example. So every position has a budget attached to it. That is why you have to assume and have to understand, based off your observation and intuition, whatever you may call it, that companies think in terms of benefits, revenue, and cost. That is how you have to approach everything. That is something that will help you out in the long run once you become a part of the organization, or once you take on that perspective that right now, okay, companies are thinking in terms of revenue, they might be cutting down costs, and whatever position they are in, how can I maximize my chances of being selected? So we got information, objectives, experience, educational skills, everything needs to be concise and specific. Now, a lot of I've seen that people put in, their exact address at the top of their resume. Mentioning their city is fine as well, because at times when you go through the job description, whatever that you're applying has attached to it, have a job description attached to it, responsibility, your job as an applicant is to ask the recruiter or whoever reached out to you to send you that job description, because that is what will give you the idea of what the role is, what the company wants, and how you can best present yourself in the market. So job description, go through front of you, you'll be able to mold your resume in a way that it becomes most presentable for and most desirable for the hiring manager or the recruiter. So the structure, आपने, you have to be careful not to mention your exact address. Location is not mentioned, that is fine too. And contact information, your email should be right. A lot of applicants make a mistake while writing their email or their phone number. Objectives, I have mentioned objective, like I mentioned, that at the end of the professional summary statement, you could experience section. I will show you sample profiles as well. Explain them, and in the I manage recruitment from top to bottom. I manage these positions as well. So 5-6 bullet points, these are meaningless because I haven't added the relevant metrics and how I've been doing everything, right? So you have to understand that when it comes to mentioning your experience, achieved what percentage of cost cutting that was achieved as a result of whatever process that you implemented. If you were working in logistics, how did you cut down costs, what percentage of that was, and how did you go about measuring those metrics? That is of most important, because I could write a lot of metrics and those wouldn't mean anything if I'm not able to describe in the interview how did we achieve those, how did we measure those. So you have to have some knowledge at least of what metrics and rating scales you use to measure those outcomes and changes that you implemented. So one key thing that you can do is that, let's say if as I am a recruiter and I have been hiring for different positions, so what I do is that right now we built the entire marketing department from scratch. So we hired a lot of new applicants, and I am constantly in touch of those people, my stakeholders that I'm working with, because I get to ask them a lot of questions about how they were, how difference, what a difference was made as a result of my efforts, right? So I hired 4 new employees, and with the help of those 4 new employees within the marketing department, we were able to generate more than 100 leads. I'm just giving you an example that we were able to generate more than 100 leads, whereas before those new candidates were those new employees were hired, we were only generating, let's say, around 20 to 30 leads. So I can add that when I hired these many employees on these specific positions, as a result of that, the entire marketing department was able to generate more than 100% leads, right? I'm able to describe that in full detail, how and what we achieved. So that makes my experience, whatever I've written in my resume, more credible. So when it comes to the education section, most of what people do is that if they are coming from a university, it's not, well known in the market, and it's tier 3. So keep in mind that everything is divided into tiers. Tier 1 is LUMS, NUST, GKey, FAST, and tier 2 are government universities, and tier 3 are universities that are not known to anyone, or even they could be even affiliated colleges as well. So इस चीज पे दिल छोटा करने की जरूरत नहीं होती है. What makes these things prominent in your profile is that when a person has not mentioned their university at all, it shows that they are somewhat conscious about not mentioning that, or have some sort of complexity as because of that. So most of the time when I've seen that resumes that have not mentioned their university or institute, then when I dig a little deeper and go through their LinkedIn profile, or whenever I have a screening call with them, they mention that they are from, so and so university, not to name anyone or any university, but it becomes clear with the passage of time. So that is a big no-no. That is a red flag, right? So when it comes to education, feel free to mention the name of your institute. It does not matter where you're coming from. And what most of the applicants do is that they hesitate from mentioning their CGPA if it's not 3 or above, right? So what you can do is, it's totally up to you if you don't want to mention it. Again, it depends on the kind of role that you're applying to. If you're applying for a more senior role, then it does not matter if you have mentioned your CGPA or not. But if you're just getting into the market, or if you're one or 2 year into the market, it would be beneficial to mention your CGPA if it's a good one. If it's not a good one, if it's not something that you're proud of, no worries, you can write percentage. You don't have to write your CGPA if it's 2.8 or 2.9. You can just write percentage. Percentage as compared to CGPA does look a little presentable. Even if you have 2.93, it almost accounts to 70% score. That is fine too. So that is a little trick that I want all of you to know. And when it comes to skills, again, it depends what kind of job you're applying to. But leadership role here, you have to write in leadership. And again, whatever skill that you mention, be very careful in how many skills you mention, because it's totally fine if you want to mention 10 to 20 skills. It's totally up to you. But again, 4 to 5 or maximum 6 number of skills, those are the maximum number that I personally feel comfortable with. The reason is that whatever your job responsibilities will be in the potential job that you're applying for, it is best if you go through that JD, job description, and pick out the most crucial and relevant skills. You can use ChatGPT. Just put in the job description in ChatGPT, ask it to give you a list of top 10 most core skills required for this job. It would give you top 10 skills, and you could further ask ChatGPT to narrow those 10 skills to 5 or 4 skills, and just mention those 4 skills in that skill section. That is fine. That is totally acceptable. Nothing wrong would come out of it. And again, in the job market, preferably in the private sector, employers are looking for people that have hands-on experience with the skills, with tools, with whatever they are portraying in their resume, because people in the private sector are looking for those professionals everything with their hand, and will be able to lead and train their team as well, because no one wants anyone who does not know anything, who does not know how to learn or work with tools, and it would be an added expense to hire someone who's not knowledgeable on tools and stuff. And because we'd be hiring them and then training them for the next 3 to 6 months, and then they would start becoming productive after a year. That is an added expense for the company. No one wants that. So be very careful in what you mention and how you mention everything in your resume. At the end, once you have created everything, you are precise, you have given a lot of thought into writing your experiences, you have to make sure that your resume is free of any grammatical errors. Because one thing is for sure, that at the top of your resume, when you're mentioning your professional summary, if your summary has grammatical errors, it is likely to be rejected. No one would take the time out to go through that entire profile. it is fine if you have, structural errors, as in your text is not justified, it isn't with the side lengths of the resume or the A4 size paper. It's totally fine. But grammatical errors are a big no-no. That means that person is not detail oriented. And most of the tasks that are going on are detail oriented, even if it's in the public sector, right? You're the public sector is maintaining everything on paper. They haven't gone fully digital. So that needs more attention to detail, eye for details, right? Because you're writing everything and everything is being signed off by you. And if you make a mistake, it would come to bite you in the ass later on. Moving on. So does anyone have any question for the resume part till now so far? I would love to answer those. If not, then we can move on. So I believe that's a no. Moving on. Okay. So the next goal is to, once you have created the resume, is to make it ATS friendly. So ATS stands for application or applicant tracking software or system. So most of the MNCs, not small and medium-sized companies or enterprises, all the MNCs have an ATS, such as Nestle, you name it, right? Nestle or Engro or Interloop. These organizations don't have the time nor the manpower to go through every resume, and there's not a human being sitting at the end of that platform and not sifting through each and every resume. They do not have the time for that. So what they have done is that they have implemented an ATS system which shortlists resume based on keywords. So it is very important for every applicant to make your CV keyword friendly and ATS friendly. How you can do that is, again, get the job description, put it into ChatGPT, and ask it to list down 10 to 15 keywords that are relevant for this, for anyone applying for this particular position, and create a list of those. So those keywords, then you can add those in your profile. And you have to understand that keyword stuffing is something that won't be beneficial for you, because the reason is that once your resume is shortlisted, it has highlighted. Once your resume has been shortlisted by the ATS system, it has highlighted how many keywords your profile was matched against. So you need to keep in mind that 10 to 15 keywords that you have extracted from the job description, you can put it in your professional summary, and you need to disperse those throughout your CV. Professional summary, certifications, experience, skills. So once they have been dispersed throughout your resume, it won't look as crowded. And a 10 to 15 number of keywords is good enough. And moving on, once you have added those keywords into your profile, you have to highlight those key strengths and experiences. So key strengths and experiences, again, like I mentioned in the previous slide, that you need to pinpoint and highlight the metrics and percentages of whatever you achieved, whatever you aimed at achieving, and however you help the other departments in achieving their goals. So mentioning key percentages and metrics, that means highlighting your key strengths and experiences. And number one advice that I give to every applicant is only write what you can defend in the interview or the initial screening call. If you write something you have no idea about and cannot defend, then you will be rejected on the spot. And next up is, I believe we can hear someone in this call. उनका AC नहीं चल रहा, I think.
Please, everybody, mute yourself.
Okay, no worries. I believe it's a part of every call that I've been in. It happens. Okay, moving on. So once you have added the keywords in your resume and mentioned your key strengths in your different sections in your resume, you need to include a portfolio link as well. It could be included in your cover letter as well. And cover letter is something that we will come on to later after I've explained the portfolio part as well. So portfolio is not something that is applicable to every applicant, every application, right? I understand that. But keep in mind going the extra mile, doing the extra effort in creating your profile and presenting yourself will be fruitful in the end. Because whenever I am looking at a profile, or other recruiters that I have interacted with are looking at profiles and screening them, they look for people that, have given some thought into creating that resume. They have gone the extra mile. They have, mentioned their achievements. They have mentioned their projects, which are specifically relevant to the position that they're applying for. That is why I keep on saying that it is better to create a quality application which is tailored to the job you're applying to, right? So you could segregate your profiles into 3 or 4 different types, as in if you're targeting tech sector, you could search on Google or use ChatGPT as well to find out what are the most dominant sectors in Pakistan, specifically within the tech domain, right? They could be logistics, they could be healthcare, they could be software development. So based on these categories, you could create 4 different resumes, and based on these 4 different categories, you could further tailor down your profiles to the extent that once you're applying for any job in these respective domains, you just need to spend 5 to 10 minutes on that profile that you have already created in the past. Just make a few tweaks and changes as in contrast to the job description, and just send it out, right? I know it's the extra effort, but once you have created these 4 different drafts for 4 different, sectors within the tech domain, it would be easier for you to apply for different job applications within these domains later on. Because I know it's hard, and no one has the time to create their resume from scratch, right? So that is why I always advise you to tailor your profiles based on the that you're applying to. Second, that I was mentioning is the the portfolio link. So first of all, most of the companies don't have access to Google Drive or external sites such as YouTube. The reason that I say that is because most of the candidates that I've come across have attached their portfolio link, but it leads to their Google Drive or YouTube or Instagram. That is not accessible in most of the companies because of security measures they have taken, and so on and so forth. So you need to keep in mind, you could use sites that are accessible to everyone. They could be Behance, they could be Dribble, they could be pages on GitHub, or I know Saad, who is a Toastmaster as well, and he has created his own website, which is pretty good, I must say. You could ask Saad how he created, his website, and you could ask for his advice on how you can craft your own website. Regardless of if you are a government employee, or if you work in the private sector, if you are a doctor, or whatever, if you are a nurse, even if you are a driver, that does not matter. What matters is the quality of your application. So what you can do is, let's say if I am not a recruiter, I am a software engineer, right? I could create a, a website where at the top of the website would be my introductory video, which I would keep on updating as I grow and evolve as a professional. So that video would introduce, I would, that would be a video would be around 2 to 3 minutes long. I'd be explaining myself and what I bring to the table, the skill sets that I have. And then I would just mention at the bottom what projects that I've done and what specific tech stack that these projects were relevant to. That would be it, right? That would show that the candidate is serious about their profession and is not just someone who's casually looking through different jobs and different companies trying to get the best value for money. So just like this, if you don't have projects to offer, create a short video, attach that with your profile. Again, it needs to be of high quality with little to no background noise. Because if you create a video, it's of high quality and there's a background noise of scooters going on, or bikes honking their horns, that would defeat the purpose, right? That does not count as a quality portfolio. So that is something that you can do to show that you're going or trying to go the extra mile. Moving on to the cover letter. Cover letter again has to be tailored for each and every job. Cover letter cannot be generic. It cannot be, just one cover letter for every job that you applied. Cover letters are solely created for the purpose where you can present yourself, how you'll be adding value on the particular position that you're applying to or applying for. So you need to tailor each and every cover letter that you attach with your CV. If you're not, if you are hesitant and don't have the time to create cover letters from scratch or don't want to create them, it's totally fine. A simple CV is fine too, as long as it's keyword optimized. It does not have any grammatical errors. It has key strengths in terms of metrics and percentages mentioned in them. That is a quality profile. It's good to go. Moving on. Now comes the LinkedIn optimization part. So first, I'll, once I'm done with this presentation, I'll go through each and every slide and, try to give you practical samples and examples of how you can achieve those things that we are discussing right now. So LinkedIn optimization, first up is the URL. So what I've seen is that most of the people, when they open their LinkedIn profile or have mentioned their LinkedIn profile link and their CV, their URL, which comes at the top of in the search bar, is like 1 mile long, right? That cannot be added in your CV. What you can do is optimize your LinkedIn URL. You could search on Google how you can, optimize your LinkedIn URL, or I'll show that to you at the end of this presentation as well. Moving on, professional summary. We have gone through that. Whatever you create in for your CV, the professional summary that goes to the top, you can expand it a little for your LinkedIn profile. Because keep in mind that LinkedIn profiles, whenever a recruiter is looking for a potential candidate, whenever they're going through searches on LinkedIn, the profiles that are shortlisted or appear in their search are shortlisted or have been shortlisted by the LinkedIn algorithm based on the keywords that they have added in their summary, in their experiences section, in their skill set. So you need to make sure that whatever professional summary or experience that you have written in your LinkedIn profile has keywords to it. Those keywords I know cannot be tailored to each and every job description, but whatever your potential industry that you're looking a job in is, you could search through for that industry, and whatever keywords are relevant for that sector or particular industry, may it be logistics, may it be software development, whatever it is, right? Whatever kind of software that company is applying, or whatever your potential target company is, you could conduct a research on that and list down at least 20 to 30 keywords based on that search that you've done, and add those keywords in your LinkedIn description. Those could be added in your professional summary, your work experiences, your skill section, anywhere that it works fine. Moving on to your work experience. Again, it's fine if you want to write your work experience within that LinkedIn job that you have mentioned, that you are currently working at this company and these are your responsibilities. But if you don't want to add your work experience, now LinkedIn has a feature that you can add skills with each job that you worked at or you're working in. So you could just add the respective keywords in those skill section, or mention the top most critical skills that you're working on, right? That you possess. And at the bottom of your LinkedIn profile is the skill section. You could utilize that to the best of your advantage, and add relevant skills. Again, relevancy is something that everyone should aim for. Whatever your potential sector is, industry is, search through Google, ChatGPT, or whatever tool that you're most familiar with. List down 10 to 20 skills. 10 to 15 skills is a good ratio. Anything more than that would be, considered as overstuffing. And keep in mind, you can only add, I believe, 25 to 30 skills in your entire LinkedIn profile. You cannot add more than that. So the skill section could at least have 10 skills, which are of core importance and most relevant to the industry that you're working in and want to work in. And then at the bottom of each job that you have mentioned in your LinkedIn profile, you could add relevant skills over there as well. Keep in mind, don't repeat or reiterate the skills that you have already mentioned. Endorsements. Endorsement section is also relevant to the skills. So whatever skills that you have mentioned, you could ask your peers, your fellow Toastmasters, your colleagues, whoever is working with you, alongside you, has managed you in the past or is managing you currently, to endorse your skills. Again, everything that we are doing and everything that you're working on will gain credibility if our peers, are with us and are, endorsing our claims. Whatever we are claiming on our profile, it is being endorsed by our colleagues, our friends, our family members, whoever it is, right? So endorsement is in the skill section where you ask people to endorse your skills. You could just send them a text, your closest friend, your professional colleagues, kindly endorse these skills or the top three skills that you have mentioned in your profile. And once that is done, it would gain and build credibility of your profile. Now, recommendations. The recommendation section is also important because it again shows whatever you are claiming in your profile has credibility, because whatever projects that you're working on or have worked on in the past, the people that you've worked on those projects with, they are the ones that can give you recommendations. So for instance, your fellow Toastmasters that